So, chapter 8 is actually called, the title of the chapter is Aksharam Brahman. So, Aksharam means that which cannot change, and therefore that which cannot be destroyed. That is Aksharam. So, the opposite of that is Ksharam, which means that which will be destroyed. And our Sharir, by the way, comes from Ksharam. That's how Sharir means anything which can be destroyed. So, when we say Sharir, this body, it's going to be destroyed. That's why it's called Sharir. And that's even the subtle body, Sukshma Sharir, is also going to be destroyed when we get moksha. So that is also called Sharir. And Karana Sharir, which is the ignorance, is also going to be destroyed eventually. So it's a good thing. So they're all called Sharir. So although the chapter is called Aksharam Brahman, a lot of what it talks about is the Sharir. It talks about the Shara part, Sharir. So it says in the beginning, okay, Brahman is Aksharam. Okay, it cannot be changed, cannot be destroyed, because the chapter starts with a question. So Arjun asks a question to Sri Krishna, and he says, what is Sharir? And what is Karam? He actually asks, what is Karam? And what is Adhyatmik, and all of these terms that we hear about, Adhyatmik, Adhidevik, Adhibhautik, Adhiyagmik. So, so that's what launches the chapter. And to begin with, Shri Krishna tells Arjun that, he also asks, what is Brahman? What is Aksharam Brahman? So he says Brahman is Aksharam, meaning Brahman can never die, never be changed. That means it can never be destroyed, it can never die. Brahman is Brahman, it remains Brahman, it's out, not in time, not in space. We know all that stuff. But then he goes on to describe, he starts by describing what is karma, because that was the question that Arjun asks. And actually, what I want to emphasize in this chapter today is about karma and the way that Gita and Vedanta looks at karma. It has a slightly different approach or viewpoint, perspective on karma, on sharir, on all these things. They're all connected. So this chapter is about what is sharir and how to get a good sharir. That's what this chapter is really about. So it starts by saying what is karma. So the way Krishna Bhagwan describes karma is, he says karma is an offering which brings forth a sharir. So, it's all, think about it from the perspective of yagna. जैसे यज्ञ होती है ना, तो गीता में तो उस समय यज्ञ बहुत होती थी, all these yagans and all these pujas and all, you used to put ahuti. So the idea was that you give an offering into the fire of yagna and some results will come out as a result. So you do the right karmas, the right karmas meaning the right kind of puja, say the right mantras, employ the right priests, invoke the right devtas, and then you give the offering into the fire, whatever is the prescribed offering, and then the devta will give you a result of the fire of the offering. Sometimes the result could be wealth, sometimes the result could be children, it could be marriage, it could be something spiritual, it could be something material. But basically that is how the, in that time, during those times, this was a very important part of life. This is how life went on, yagna went on. So Krishna Bhagwan uses that framework to describe karma. He says, just as you, in your yagna, you give offerings and then you get a result, karma is an offering that you're giving to life. And based on your karma, you will get the new sharir, the next janam ka sharir. You give the right karmas, good karmas, you'll get a good sharir. That means you'll get a good experience. You offer the wrong karmas, bad karmas, you'll get, whatever it is that you're offering into the fire, into the yagna, you will get that kind of result. And the sharir is a result of karma. Now, the reason I want to emphasize this is because we think about it the opposite way. We think a sharir is given to us. Now, using the sharir, we have to do the karma. Gita thinks about it in that, Vedanta thinks about it in the other way. It says the karma is the fundamental unit. It's the karma from which everything starts. And based on the karma you do, you'll get the next Jivan ka sharir. Because your experiences for your next life depend upon your karma of today. And the sharir, it will be given which is suitable for those experiences. That is how Gita thinks about karma and sharir. The starting point, that's why it says law of karma. They never say law of sharir. It's the law of karma. The starting point is karma. And I want to spend a little bit more time on this just so we make sure we completely understand this, which is that how is life defined? What is life? What are we here for? Right? So the way to think about it in from Vedanta is that we are here for experience. Like every moment of our life is an experience. A good experience, a bad experience, a neutral experience, whichever way you want to define it. Every moment is an experience. And that's all we do. All we do is karma bhokta, karta bhokta. We are experiencing. That's all we do. And we are causing new experiences by what we are doing. Now, so from that perspective, if you think about it, you can say that this whole world is we'll hear about this in the future chapter of Gita, is a kshetra. That means it's a field. It's a field of experience. It's a place from where we can get experience, this whole world. And our body, you know, is the where the interaction happens, through which the body is the intermediary by which the interaction happens between us and the world. If you think about it, that is, how true that is. You cannot experience the world if you don't have a body. Because in the body, you have your eyes, your ears, everything. You even have your mind, which is basically, this where the experience occurs. Also, it's a body. It may not be the sukshma, it may not be the physical body, it may be the subtle body, it may be just the sukshma sharira, not the sthul sharir, but it is still a body. So, body is the place of interaction where the transfer happens, where the transaction happens. So Carol used to call it the counter. Sales counter hota hai na? The salesman is standing behind the counter. तुम जाके कुछ खरीदना है, तो you go to the counter and then you tell the guy, मेरे को ये चाहिए. Right? The sales counter is the place where the interaction happens, where you give the money and that man gives you, or the girl, the sales girl gives you some product. So the counter is where the interaction happens. It's similarly, the body is where the interaction happens. There is the world, which is a storehouse of many different experiences which you can get. And there is you behind the body. Think about it like that. You are behind the body, the world is on the other side of the body. And using the body, through the body, you're having this interaction with the world. And what's that interaction? It's called experience. This is something to be thought about and internalized, because a lot of Vedanta, you'll hear about it, is built around this. Karam Chittan, Lokan. Lok means what? Lok means an experience. When we say different lokas, each loka ka matlab hi yahi hota hai. Actually, if you look into the meaning of the loka, it means experience. A place where experience is happening. So when we say Prithvi, so Prithvi offers a certain kind of experience, a certain level of good and bad experiences. Along with the Prithvi, you're given a body which is suitable for the Prithvi. So the kinds of experiences you can have depend on where you are, which is Prithvi, and the body you have. Now you'll have a range within them, bad and good. In that range, your experience happens. But Prithvi is not the only lok. There are other fields of experience. So Swarg is another lok, for example. There, the experiences are much more subtle. The pleasure is much more pleasurable. And our body is unsuitable for Swarg. It's like all these beautiful things around us, but we don't have the way to receive them. We don't have the way to experience them because our eyes are gross. We can only hear a certain range. We can only see a certain spectrum in the electromagnetic wavelength of light, right? So our body is not suitable. So we are given a different kind of a body when we go to Swarg. This body is capable of much finer experiences. much more subtle experiences, and those experiences are available in Swarg. So that's how body is thought of. At the end of the day, a body is nothing but a way to get experience. And the world, whether it's Swarg or Narak or Prithvi, is nothing but a way to get experience. Life is experience. And this series of experiences, one after the other, is what is life. And with every lifespan, with every body, you are there to experience a certain number of experiences with that body. When those experiences get exhausted, the body is done. Then you get a new set of experiences for which you get a new body, right? And what are those new set of experiences going to be? That will depend on what actions you did in this janam. So the actions you're doing are an offering, which will result in the new body and the new loka for a new set of experiences. And life goes on. So this is the perspective on life. It's the most general, and you cannot, like, nobody can say that this is not his experience in life. It's just that we never view it this way. We always think that the world is given and I just come for a little bit in the world and I will experience certain things and with this body, and then I will go, our approach is very different. Vedanta's approach is very different. It looks at it in just a series of experiences. And what is death? Death is just a break where you say, okay, this body has done its work. Now I need a new body for a new set of experiences, and you get the new body. That's what is death. It's nothing. I mean, basically what Vedanta says is it's like मेरे को याद नहीं आ रहा the exact saying, but in one of the Upanishads they describe it. वो कहते हैं जैसे वो बड़ा कुछ खाना खा रहे हो और थोड़ी सी some dana or something. It's like, it's nothing. It's basically death is nothing. It's like a small little spice that you have in your food, which you're eating, I don't exactly remember, but there was something like that. It was describing what death means, because it's just a little blip for a new body and a new experience. That's the approach. So any questions on this framework, first of all? So mute ho gaye. What did I say? Sanjay, are you good with it?
No, yeah, it's fine, Dheeraj.
Mukta,
Yeah, even I'm good with it.
you get it?
Yeah.
The unit of life is experience and karma. They go together.
Yeah.
Your karma is what is going to decide what your next experience is going to be. Therefore, karma is an offering. Hi, Rajiv.
Yeah, hi there. Sorry, I got a little late.
No problem, man. Good, glad you joined.
Yeah, a lot of technical issues, but I managed to figure it out.
Yeah, if you can't manage it, then who will manage it?
I woke up in the morning and my iPhone was full. And full means no memory. And so I could not transition the invite to another machine where I could launch the stuff. So just one of those exceptional experiences.
But you managed to figure it out.
Yeah.
So kahan pe hai tu yaar? I mean, it's like, why is your light on in the port?
I am sitting outside on my front porch. I just thought, experience the discussion in a natural setting.
Very nice. I was just telling them it's pretty cold over here. I don't know what it is like up north.
It's in the 50s right now. It was warm
cold.
for
For
a
me,
week,
it's pretty cold.
Yeah, for you guys, it's probably cold, but for us, it's like, okay, spring is longer than we thought, so forth. So, but it's a long weekend on the other side, so I'm happy to get a 3-day break and
Good.
recharge. Yeah.
So we were discussing chapter 8 today, and I think you joined in between the discussion. The chapter 8 is on Aksharam Brahma. Akshara means basically something which is changeless, which cannot be destroyed. So he's saying, Krishna was telling Arjun that Brahman cannot be destroyed. It cannot change, it cannot be destroyed. It is just there the way it is. And you guys are all familiar with all this.
Yeah.
But then he goes on to talk about the sharir, which is Shara. Akshar is can't be destroyed. Shara is something which can be destroyed or will be destroyed. And Shara se Sharir aata hai. It's derived from there. And Sharir is something which will be destroyed. That's how Sharir comes. And then we were talking about how, Arjun asks him, what is karma? And Krishna Bhagavan describes karma as an offering. So he says, you think about karma as an offering you're making to life. Because based on what offering you make, which karma you do, that is the offering you make, based on that, you will get your future bodies. Your future sharas, the sharirs, will depend upon that. And where you get, which loka you get into, that will also depend upon this offering. What experiences you get will depend upon this offering. So it's the unit of sort of activity, the unit of life, the thing that you can control from which future emerges is the karma. That's the law of karma. Karma is a fundamental, considered to be a fundamental thing in Vedanta. So that's what we talked about. And then the second point, which is also in this chapter, which is unique to this chapter actually, is he talks about how do you get the different lokas and sharirs? What happens based on the karmas that you do? And there, we talked about Upasana last time. That's why I introduced Upasana, because he distinguishes here between someone who is totally materialistic, doesn't do any Karam Yoga or Upasana. Then second, a person who does a lot of Karam Yoga. That means he tries to gain control over his mind and his senses. And, that's a Karam Yogi. And then the third one is a person who does Upasana. That means has done the Karam Yoga and has now spent a lot of time thinking about Ishwar, thinking about the reality of this world. Not a Jnani yet, because he's thinking Ishwar, not thinking me. But that's an Upasana. And he describes how these three sets of people have three different paths after death. So just to kind of give you a summary, there are two. One is, there are a bunch of routes which he never talks about, which is a materialistic guy. The materialistic guy will stay in the earth or go to Narak. He'll keep going up and down over here. But a Karam Yogi follows a path called the Krishna Gati. Gati means path. Krishna means dark. He follows the dark path. And it's called the dark path because, there are a lot of technical details in this, which are the devtas who escort him and when this happens. And, it's called the Chandramaka route and all that. But it's called the dark path mainly because it will take you to a different world, a better world, but then it will bring you back. So you'll go to Swarg and you will enjoy the good experiences of Swarg. But once your karmas which brought you there are over, they're exhausted. That means the experiences related to that are done, then you come back and your life starts again. So it's a nice holiday. You take your holiday and then you come back to the cold of Seattle and the Bay Area or the hot of Delhi, whatever. So he's trying to say through this that you can long for karma, you can long for Swarg, but you're going to come back here. It's not like it's not forever. He's trying to develop some dispassion about all these things in you. And then there is the Shukla Gati. Shukla means lit up, white. So the white path is the path of the Ishwar Upasi, or the one who does Ishwar Upasana. And there you go to what's called the Brahmalok, which is a higher loka than Swarglok. And in Brahmalok, there can be two things can happen. One is you return, but that's rare. Actually, I don't know whether it's rare or not, but that's one thing that can happen. But the important thing he emphasizes is that you may not return. If you go to Brahmalok, you will actually meet Brahmaji. And Brahmaji is the ideal teacher. He's a great teacher. And you will learn from him. He will teach you Vedanta. And you will get the knowledge from him. And then you will stay there as a person, as a Jivan Mukta, who is released from the pains of life. And you will enjoy Brahma Loka as a Jivan Mukta. And then when the pralaya happens, then you will not be born again. So that's the path. It's called the Shukla Gati. So there is no way to get liberation without Gyan. You can't do Upasana, you can't do Karam Yoga and hope to get Gyan. Through Upasana and Karam Yoga, you can get a better afterlife. You can get, after this Janam, you can get a better world to live in. The only way to get liberation is Gyan. You can either get the Gyan here in this life, in which case none of these gatis is relevant to you because there is no rebirth for you. Or you can go to Brahmalok. These are the only two lokas where Gyan is possible. You can go to Brahmalok and there get Gyan by Brahmaji and then not be born again. But Brahmalok है, जो Brahmalok है, उनकी life बहुत लंबी होती है. they don't die like 100 years. They go for crores of years. So whenever that life finishes, right, you don't get born again. But while that life is going on, you will be a Jivan Mukta. And this route, by the way, technically, of going to Brahmalok and then getting Mukta there is called Krama Mukti. Okay? And, जो हम करते हैं, that's called Jivan Mukti or Videha Mukti. Like Deha जब खत्म हो जाता है तो मुक्ति हो जाती है. So these are the two main routes to Gyan. And he glorifies in this the Ishvara Upasi. He says because this person is going to get mukti. And therefore he says do upasana. And he says, he calls him, because in this whole of Gita, he is personifying himself as Ishvara. So when he says Ishvara, he says me. So he says, think of me. At the time of death, if you think of me, you will reach me. That's a very famous shlok in the Gita. And then he explains, you can't just think of somebody at the time of death. At the time of death, you have hardly any control. Whatever you're thinking during life is what you will think at the time of death. If you think that you can think of anything else right now and at the time of death, you'll suddenly switch your thing to God, first, you wouldn't know when death happens. And secondly, you won't have the energy at that time to do anything but what is natural to you. So although he says at the time of death, you think of me, that's where you'll go. What he means is whatever you're doing is what you will think. Whatever is your predominant thought during life will be your thought at death. And that's what will drive you or drive your next janma. Okay. So, and then and then we talked about last time what upasana means, the difference between upasana and karam yoga.
Yep.
So that is clear. So these are the two main sort of messages from this chapter. It's about what is sharir and what is experience, and what does Bhagwan say about how to get a better sharir and a better experience, either through the Krishna Gati, where you'll get a temporary one, or through Shukla Gati, where you'll get Brahmalok, but you have the opportunity to get a Gyan through Brahmaji, and therefore it's a path of no return. It's a path to Brahmalok and no return, but the path to Swaraglok is a path of return back to Prithvi. So that's the gist of it. But there are other things also in the chapter, which we can do that next week. If choti baatein hain thodi si. I'm just looking at it. They describe how many yugas are there. They talk about the lengths of the 4 yugas, how they are all different. Each succeeding yug is twice the length, things like that. But I don't want to muddy the waters. So I think these are the important things. So I just want to make sure you guys are totally comfortable with this. We've got a half hour. Let's just discuss what we talked about, or anything else that you have on your mind. Atul, so to nahi gaya? I'm trying
Almost.
to your Uber.
Almost.
Almost. Almost reached.
I think आधे घंटे में
Oh, okay. Plenty of time.
20 minutes.
Oh, Kiki sent a message on chat. So how does free will figure into this model? I mean, you need free will, but that's why they says the offering is karma. So what you want to offer as karma into the fire is dependent on your free will. That's how free will figures. And the free will only figures in Prithvi and for humans, because this is where you become a karta. You can do things. I mean, superficially, that's the answer. Whether there is something called a free will or not, or whether there is even this world or not, that's a different question. That's like from a Paramarthika perspective, that's a different discussion. But I think your question was about free will. At free will, obviously, you're talking as a mithya. So as mithya, the free will exists, and it exists because you choose what actions you're going to do in this world. You choose the offering, which will result in your future body, and that comes from free will. But if there was no free will, then there would be no Gita. Because Gita is telling you, hey, do this. It's invoking your free will and saying you have the option. Take this option. Do the right thing. Do Karam Yoga. Do Upasana. It's saying all these things to you because there is free will, because it believes that you have an option. You have a choice. Otherwise, what's the point of Gita at all, right? If everything is dictated by destiny, then we are, then we are what we are. What else? Rajiv?
Yeah, so uh, my thought process always leads to so I was thinking more around the selfless action part, right?
Yeah.
And I struggle with looking at that and trying to internalize it by doing something that's really selfless, right? But the struggle really is finding that kind of opportunity and that kind of work. So I was wondering if you actually have any channels or some suggestions in terms of how does one go about doing more of that. I mean, typically here, I mean, I'll share with you what we do, which is give a lot of donations and things like that to, people in need or organizations in need. But that's just cutting the check at the end of the year and hoping it ends up somewhere useful. I was thinking of channels of more active involvement, and struggle with that. So I think if you have some suggestions there in terms of, since you're probably ahead of all of us, and there might be things that you're doing, would be great to share, or
I'll do that. Actually, I mean,
yeah.
what I have are ways in which you can help for education of Vedanta,
Okay,
for
that's
spreading the
great.
message.
Yeah.
So that I have some thoughts. So let me think about it,
Okay.
find out what's really available right now, and then send you a message. I'll
Okay.
send you a WhatsApp message.
All right, and if there are
So
other
for example,
opportunities.
I'm helping out in a there's a lady in India who's trying to start a Vedanta university, so I'm kind of involved with her. I'm helping her publish a magazine, a journal, so I'm on the editorial board of that. I write articles, but there are a lot of other things that she needs help with. You know, you can help others who are trying to, because all these companies, everything are there just based on um, free work, either donation in kind or money, right? So they're always looking for people who can help. But then they're also saying we want people who really genuinely believe in this. We don't want to just just so that it's the right group of people that they. So I'll let you know if you're interested.
Okay. And to the folks in India, right? I mean, if you have any opportunities to help somebody, get educated or go to school or things like that, that you think would benefit from any kind of contribution, please.
Of course, there's so many there. Yeah? I mean, they'll be so happy to. There are all these foundations which are helping people in India, exactly with this kind of work, which is supporting education and things like that. So I'll keep that in mind. I'll reach out to you. And one
Okay.
of my friends is actually heading the or part of the leadership team of America India Foundation,
Who's
which is
that?
doing this
Who?
Harit Talwar. I don't know whether you know him.
No, I don't. No.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so I mean, I can introduce you if you want to. It's not a problem. You'll soon find yourself inundated with requests for help.
Yeah, I mean that's
You'll have to then
good.
say,
I
okay,
think
this is what I can
visibility is.
do.
Yeah.
But but I think from your own, you want to do good work, which is great. But just from your own sort of development as a Karam yogi, it really doesn't matter whether you're doing something for others or not. It it what is your own attitude inside in your mind when you're doing it is what's important.
Yeah.
Right?
So
Because
that part,
you can't really do selfless action. Selfless action is just
yeah.
it's a good, nice concept.
So that's actually good learning through Vedanta about you can incorporate that in the everyday work you do, and offer it as prasad, or think of it
Yes.
as helping other people, right? So that's the change in mindset, which certainly is ongoing. But the pleasure it gives to help somebody in need, right? To
Yes.
me personally is like, okay, I changed
No,
their
no, no,
life, or
absolutely.
so forth. So it's got a
Absolutely.
different kind of satisfaction.
Yeah, sure. I'll send you a couple of places where you can help. Mukta, you have any question or any thoughts to add to this whole discussion?
Not exactly to this discussion,
Hmm.
but I've been meaning to ask you or talk to you about something different, not totally different, but regarding this only. But it's not related to today's topic. But I've been meaning to ask you about how do you stabilize yourself to the fact? How have you done it, or whether Sanjay, Rajiv, or Kiki, or Atul, any of you have done it, with the fact that we have learned that this world is an appearance. In Vedanta, what we have learned, that this world is an appearance in Brahman. theoretically I understand, but वो बस एक बार पढ़ा समझ आ गया, that's it. It doesn't like really क्या बोले उसको कि वो एक
Stick.
हाँ मतलब वो बस पढ़ा सुना समझ आया and that's it, it's over. But it doesn't stabilize, like एक चीज stabilize थोड़ी सी हुई है कि yes, जो अभी आज जो हमने पढ़ा कि we are Brahman and bodies separate and मतलब ब्राह्मण में बॉडी अपीयर हुई है एंड ऑल दैट, बट जो पूरा जब हम पूरे का सोचते हैं कि ब्राह्मण में पूरा यूनिवर्स इज अपीयरेंस एंड इट्स अ फॉल्स, उसको थोड़ा सा स्टेबलाइज, आई डोंट नो, यू हैव डन इट, is it stabilized with you? It must have been. What do you
But
think? How do you think about it? How do you
yeah, no, I
do?
understand. I know what you're saying. And I mean the answer, the short answer is it is just a matter of time. Okay? Because the more you think about it, the more little things become clear. Because obviously, it's clear at a very high level, but it's not really clear, because if it was really clear, you would not have any contradiction. So my question, and it's not for you, it's for all of us. The clarity comes with time. So that's a general answer for you. Okay.
Okay.
But more specifically, maybe I want to ask you, when you say the world is an appearance, what do you mean? Are you trying to say that the world is not really there, it just appears to be there?
No, इट इज देयर एट वही जो कहते हैं कि व्यवहारिका लेवल एंड परमार्थिका लेवल,
Yeah,
एट द व्यवहारिका लेवल इट एक्चुअली इज देयर,
right.
बट जब वेदांता में उसको समझाया जाता है, जब इट इज सेड कि जैसे ड्रीम एग्जाम्पल को लेके समझाया जाता है कि इन द ड्रीम everything is the whole, whatever you're dreaming, that whole thing is just your mind and
Right.
nothing else.
Right.
And that is how it is explained,
Yes.
that the whole world is just in your consciousness. It's nothing but your consciousness or Brahman in which this whole world appears.
So I think so let me stop you there.
Yeah.
When you say it's in your consciousness, this you, which is seeing the world, which is observing the world, is this you Brahman, or is this you also at the same level as the world? Is this view also mithya? The technical term is mithya and satyam. So is this you also mithya, or is it Brahman?
No, actually तो theoretically समझने में तो ये समझ है कि ब्राह्मण ही है.
No.
This you is Brahman.
No. The you that is seeing the world is also mithya. See, that is the reason why this is how the dream example can be confusing. In the dream, when you say the dream is in your mind, your
Yeah.
mind is Ishwar, is like Ishwar.
Okay.
Because there is nobody else, it's just you. In this world, there are other people too, not
Yeah.
just you. So the one that is seeing, you are seeing, I'm also seeing. We are at the same level. So the one who's seeing can be equated to the mukta in the dream, not the mukta in whose mind the whole world appears, the whole dream appears. In other words, we have to understand that the world is real, just as real as you, the seer, is real. The seen is as real as the seer. It's not that the seer is real and the seen is not real. What is experienced is as real as the one who experiences it. The one who experiences it is not Satyam. and the one which is experienced is not mithya. That is not right. Then you're talking about two different levels. You're saying Satyam is experiencing the mithya. And that you can never come to terms with. That becomes what's called solipsism. You will always feel something is not right here. You'll never stabilize. So you have to forget, for a minute, forget Brahman. Assume that Brahman doesn't exist. Assume that what exists is you, Mukta, also Mithya, and the world, which is also Mithya. And you, Mukta, are seeing the world. You're at the same level. Call it Mithya, call it whatever you want to call it, real, unreal, not real, real, whatever you want to call it. But you're at the same level. The one who's seeing the world is at the same level as the world. What is Brahman is just saying that this world, the reality of the world is Brahman, and the reality of the seer is also Brahman. Brahman is the common unifying reality, which is common across the one who sees, one who experiences, and the one that is experienced. So you can never, every time you think about yourself as experiencing the world, you are thinking about yourself as Mukta, not as Brahman. You cannot be a Brahman and experience the world, because Brahman is the world. You can't experience yourself. So you have to remember that this mithya is a very confusing concept. And
Yes.
the way it is taught in Vedanta is also very confusing. Because they straight away tell you, you are Brahman. And what you don't realize is, what is this me that is Brahman? It's not the me that is seeing the world. The me that is seeing the world is just the mind. The Brahman is the reality, the essence of what is seeing the world, the essence of you. Similarly, the Brahman is the essence of the world. And that essence is the same. That is a scientific way to think about it, that the two are the same. There are many reasons to understand why the two have to be the same. Otherwise, if they were not the same, there'd be no interaction between them. You wouldn't be able to experience one or the other. So that's why this neti is very important. So for you to understand that I am Brahman, first you have to understand what is the you, which is bereft and removed from all the things that you think is you. You think the you is your body. You think the you is the one who is seeing. You think the you is the one who's hearing. You think the you is the one who's living. You think the you is the one who is experiencing. All these are not you. First, you have to get them. You say, there is a me. Even when all these things go away, the me will still remain, because these things will go away. All these things are part of Sharir. They are perishable. So you as the seer, you as the hearer, all of them will go away. What remains is Brahman, and that Brahman cannot be experienced. So this you have to, I'm really sorry, Mukta, that it is so complicated, because I can
You have to be
well,
sorry.
no, I can tell you that it is not complicated at all. But I can also see, and I know that for you right now, this seems so complicated, because I know, I've I've been through the process. So it seems like that. But
Dheeraj, I think one of the questions, or at least that's what I heard in between the words, was that how have you solved this?
Yeah. Actually, that's true. That's what I wanted to ask.
well, I mean, this is like a very I mean, have I solved it? I don't know. I mean, I don't feel, the only thing I can say is I don't feel any confusion. I don't feel doubts and confusion. Maybe that's what it means that I've solved it. But tomorrow I may learn something else which may solve it more, right? I don't know. See, to me, I can only go about it the way I go about it, which is through thinking. I spent a lot of time thinking. I kind of assumed what Vedanta is saying is right. That was my first assumption. I said, okay, let me assume that this, and I don't know where and how I got that Shraddha, but the Shraddha was there, that Vedanta is right. And it's been building up for me from my childhood. I've always said, okay, I need to understand this Vedanta. There is something there which I need to understand. And then I said, okay, what are my confusions and what are my doubts? So in the beginning, I started asking about these doubts and confusions from my teacher. But then I soon realized that doesn't work. It works only to a certain level.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, you have to develop the process of thinking through the thing yourself. And you have to figure it out for yourself. All the questions that are coming, you read, you listen to things, they will give you ideas, but there is no substitute to thinking this through. And you have to be very objective about it too. Because that's the other thing. If you're not objective, then you will be you feel hurdles and obstacles in your thinking process, because you'll get attracted to things. You'll want short-term things. That's what happens. Like our mind has already got, I want this. Like for example, part of my at one time I used to think, oh, I want to learn and I want to teach to people because I want people to know that I know. That's a hurdle. It's like I have to see that in myself and say, hey, am I trying to impress others or am I trying to learn? I have to see that in myself and then say, yes, this is not okay. If I want to learn, I have to get rid of this thought. I have to focus on learning. Right? So you will have to go through this process for yourself, because all of you will have your own obstacles and your own proclivities and your own issues, and you will have to tackle them as you go along. Because then only you will focus on this learning. I hope that helps, Mukta. That's an honest.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have to think through it.
Yeah. Think about
I'll have
it.
to listen.
Yeah. And remember, nothing in your experience should contradict Vedanta. If what you're experiencing is different from what you're hearing, that means there is uh, some more thinking to be done. It's like in Kena Upanishad, it's so interesting. See, these Upanishads, these guys, they take real life situations. So in Kena Upanishad, this is exactly the question which was asked by the student to the teacher. So the teacher asked, um, who among you know Brahman?
Yeah.
And it's a trick question. Okay. And some students said, I know Brahman. Some students said, I don't know Brahman. One student said, I know Brahman and I don't know Brahman. Because what he was trying to say was, to know Brahman means you know it as an object. I don't know Brahman as an object. But I can't say that I don't know Brahman either, because that's me. How can I say I don't know me? I can't know me as an object, but I know I exist. It's the fundamental thing, I exist. If I didn't exist, I wouldn't be experiencing anything. The fact that I'm experiencing anything means that I exist. And I exist behind everything that I experience. I experience my thoughts, I experience my mind, I experience everything. I exist behind all of that. But I cannot be experienced because I can't experience myself. So till you get this, you will never be able to get Mithya and Satyam properly. Because that thing which is behind everything, without which nothing can be experienced, is the only Satyam. Everything else is Mithya. Everything else is on the same level, including the Mukta who is experiencing. Because the Mukta who is experiencing is different from the experience. So that's why it's Mithya. It's a separate object from the one which is being experienced. And no matter how hard you try, when you say, I am Satyam, you will only be thinking about you as Mukta. You may say, okay, I don't think of me as Mukta as the body. Then you will think about you as your thoughts. You may even share that out. Then you will think about you as the buddhi. That's why those 5 layers, right? Those 5 koshas. You may have stopped thinking about you as the Annamaya kosha, as the body. But it doesn't mean that you're not thinking about yourself as one of the other remaining 4 koshas. You jolly well are. The fact that you're thinking, that means you're thinking in one of those koshas. There is no thought possible in Brahman. So these things have to be properly understood. And for them to be properly understood, they have to be properly taught. And that's why they talk about, going to a Swami, going to a teacher and getting all these properly understood. That's the reason. So, I can do only what I can do. But if you ask me these questions, then we can have these discussions and I can share these thoughts because they will help you, along the way.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
You're welcome. No, so
Think about it.
Kane is a very interesting Upanishad. I mean, really, because based
Yeah,
on the questions. Huh?
I've gone through that
Yeah.
Kane Upanishad, but ऐसे एक बार में थोड़ी समझ आ जाता है.
No. It has to be explained. That's the thing. It has to
Yeah.
be properly explained. Otherwise, to समझ आने का, it's humanly impossible. Impossible. So then he says that, मैं क्या बताने लगा था? Yeah, so he says those who are saying that I know Brahman and those who are saying I don't know Brahman, the teacher says you need more mimamsa. Mimamsa means shraddha-full understanding. With mimamsa, the mimamsa is not, so there's something called analysis or study. Mimamsa is a particular kind of study where you do that study with shraddha. That means you assume Vedanta is right. Now, with that assumption, try to figure out what is it that you're not getting. So, Shraddha Purvak study is called Mimamsa. So, it says you need Mimamsa. And that's exactly what I also feel. If you ask me what is it that works, what has been working for you, it's Mimamsa. Shraddha Purvak study. That's all.
Mukta, we are all waiting for the Akhandakar Vritti to happen, I
Akhanda Parvati.
think.
Anyway, chalo. Other things, questions? तुम्हारे तो 10:30 बज गए हैं, गर्मी है.
It's only getting pleasant, right?
Yeah. My God, yeah, I couldn't believe it. Yesterday I went out for a walk. I had to wear that Patagonia jacket होती है ना वो, with a hood and all. And I had to put my hands in my pocket because it was so cold. And like I was thinking about Delhi because उससे पहले मेरे friend ने मेरे को लिखा था कि it's like going to be 47 and it's roasting over there. And I was wondering, this within 1 week, what a difference. I was there. Two extremes. Chalo. Good for tonight.
Hello. Thank you.
In 2
Yeah.
weeks' time.
Okay.
Okay.
Good talking to
Okay.
you guys. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Bye.